Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna show you guys how to crochet a beautiful kimono cluster. I have 3 written pattern for size extra small go up to 4XL. It's available on my blog, but if you prefer a PDF printable version, it's available for purchase on my Etsy shop and my Ravelry store. And I will put all the link in description below. And for this tutorial, I'm gonna show you in size extra small. Okay, and this is gonna be the part 1. I hope you enjoy. Here is the materials that I use for this project. So for this project, you will need the fingering weight yarn. Okay, so I use Scheepjes sunkissed. This is fingering weight yarn. Alright, and this is 100% cotton. And here is the number code 09, and one skein have 185 yards, okay, and then 170 meter per each skein. So I use 5 skein, but not the whole 5 skein. That's what I have left. This is the 5th skein, okay. And then crochet hook, size 4 millimeters. Stitch markers, scissors, and yarn needle. Okay, let's talk about the pattern first. So for this pattern, it's just 2 row repeat, which is row 2 and 3. Just 2 row repeat, okay? Not that difficult. I go slowly, don't worry. And then this is multiple of 8 plus 5. If you don't know what is multiple of 8 plus 5, you're gonna make 8 chain, 8 chain, 8 chains. And then at the end, you're gonna add 5 more chains. That is multiple of 8 plus 5. And again, I will tell you exactly how many chains that I made. Okay, so let's talk about the gauge. I recommend you guys to make a gauge swatch first and then block it. You can block it whatever you like, or whatever the material you use that they tell you how you can block it, okay? So for me, I block it by put in the warm water for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I squeeze it to let the water out, and then let it dry on the floor. And after that, I measure the gauge. Alright, so for the gauge, we're gonna talk about the width first. So for the width, which is gonna be the stitches, okay, not the row. So I call this a V treble cluster stitch. Everybody call different name, but yeah, whatever. I call V treble cluster stitch for this one, okay? That's what I call. So for the gauge, 2.5 of V treble cluster stitches is equal 4 inches. So I show you how I measure it. So here is 1 V. Just 2, 3, like that, okay? So measure anywhere you like. So I gonna measure up here. I measure this one, but I go up here because so you can see, okay? So here, like that. Here, I have 1 V, 2 V, okay? And then the 3rd V is just half of that. So 2.5 V equal 4 inches. See? Or I show you, you can measure different way, different row too. Whatever 5 the stitches that make into the same stitch, that is the V. That is the V. That is the V. That is the V. Okay? But I measure on top of that V. So I measure on top of this V just to show you one more time. So see? Here I have 1 V, 2 V, and then half of the 3rd V. So 2.5 V treble cluster equal 4 inches. like that. Okay, this is gonna be the width. Alright, and then talk about the length. So for the length, 5.5 rows equal 4 inches. So I show you. I just gonna measure from the first row here. Okay, so you can see better. So see, this 1 row, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this is the 6th row, but it's not all the way 6. It's like 5.5 row here, equal 4 inches. Okay, I hope you guys get it. And this is the gate. Alright, and then let's talk about the pattern here. Okay, for this kimono, we're gonna make 3 separate pieces, which is the back panel here, and then 2 front panels. Okay, and then I'm gonna talk about the front panel first. So I'm gonna make a front panel first because I want you to see the whole pattern of the width, because the back panel is kind of long, difficult to see the whole panel of the width. So I show you in front panel first. Okay, so for the front panel, we make the chain here, again multiple of 8 plus 5. I'll tell you exactly how many chain, and crochet back and forth till we have our desired length, and then at the end leave a long tail. Okay, both front panel make the same, and then after we finish with front panel, and for the back panel also we make the chain here, long chain. The chain that we make gonna be the width, and I will tell you exactly how many chain, and we crochet back and forth, and then at the end you don't need to leave a long tail because we already leave a long tail for the 2 front panels. Alright, after that we're gonna put them like this. Oh, one more thing, I also make the back panel bigger than the 2 front panel when put them together like this, because I want to have a space at the neck area. Okay, and then after we finish all the pieces, we will put them like this, and we will sew at the shoulder seam here. We will sew on the wrong side, both shoulder seam. Okay, and after that we will fold them like this, and then we will sew on the side. Okay, cut a new strand of yarn, sew on the side all the way up. Okay, I will tell you exactly how many inches that I leave open for armhole, or whatever you prefer for your side that you're comfortable with. Okay, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. So yeah, that's it for the pattern. It's not difficult. Okay, and for this tutorial gonna be part 1, and for the part 1 I'm gonna show you how to make the front panel. Okay, and then for the part 2 I'm gonna show you how to make a back panel and then sew all the pieces together. And for the back panel and front panel is the same pattern, but just the back panel make longer chain. That's it. Other than that, everything the same pattern, repeat the same. And for this tutorial, I'm gonna show you in size extra small, small. So extra small and small is the same size. Okay, I think I got everything, and also please go check in description below for all the details that you will need. Okay, and let's get started. Okay, we're gonna make a front panel first. So for the front panel, I already make one because we're gonna make 2 exactly the same. Okay, and like I said, this pattern is multiple of 8 plus 5. Okay, so for me, for the front panels, I'm gonna make 61 chains. That is multiple of 8 plus 5. Okay, if you don't know what is multiple of 8 plus 5, you're gonna make 8 chain, 8 chain, 8 chain till you have your desired width, and then at the end you're gonna add 5 more chains. Alright, I'm gonna make slip knot first and then make 61 chains. This is size extra small, small. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Alright, and then I will be back when I have 61 chains. Make sure to make your chain loosely. Okay, now I have 61 chains here. Okay, and I'm gonna show you my front panel, that one I already made. So that's what it looks like. So the chain that we start here, 61 chain, it's gonna be this width right here. Okay, so after that, gonna make a pattern here, crochet back and forth. It's pretty long. It's just 2 row repeat, and then at the end I leave a long tail here. I will tell you exactly of everything. I just want to show you real quick of the panel. Alright, so here I have my 61 chains. That's what this look like. And then row 1 gonna be the right side. Okay, for the odd number row gonna be the right side, for an even number row gonna be the wrong side. So row 1 is the right side. And then into the 5th chain from hook, we're gonna make 2 treble cluster. I show you how, don't worry. So this is the first chain, second chain, third chain, fourth chain, and 5th chain. Into that 5th chain, we're gonna make 2 treble cluster. So you're gonna yarn over hook twice, once, twice, okay, and then insert the hook into the 5th chain from hook right here, and then pull up a loop. Okay, you will have 4 loops on your hook. You're gonna yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, and then when you have 2 loops left on the hook, don't do anything yet. You're gonna yarn over hook twice, so once, twice, okay, and then insert the hook into the same chain right here, and then pull up a loop, and now you have 5 loops on the hook. You're gonna yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Alright, and then when you have 3 loops on your hook, you're gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. That is the 2 treble cluster. Okay, and then so I count this as 1 cluster. Okay, includes the chain that we skipped to. It's count as 1 cluster. So here, that's what we have right now. This panel is this. Okay, and next I'm gonna chain 1 and skip 7 chains, and then into the next chain we're gonna make a V treble cluster. Don't worry, I go slowly. So skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then into the next chain we're gonna make a V treble cluster. So for the V treble cluster is, you're gonna make 2 treble cluster, chain 4, slip stitch, chain 4, and 2 treble cluster, all into the same stitch. That is count as 1 V treble cluster, which is gonna be like this. Okay, again I go slowly, don't worry. So after I skip 7 chain, and then here is the next chain, I'm gonna make a V treble cluster. So I yarn over hook twice, okay, and then make 2 treble cluster first into the next chain here. Skip 7, insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So remember, when we start we make a 2 treble cluster, so do the same. I'm gonna yarn over hook twice again, insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, now we have 2 treble cluster, and then next I'm gonna chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then slip stitch into the same chain stitch here, right here. Okay, I insert the hook, pull up a loop and pull it through. Alright, and then now I'm gonna chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm gonna make 2 treble cluster into the same chain stitch. Okay, so again, yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And now we have a V treble cluster stitch. It's not that difficult. Okay, so as you can see here, so now we have this cluster and then this V treble cluster, right? And then next I'm gonna chain 1 and then skip 7 chain, and then into the next chain I'm gonna make a V treble cluster again. So I skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then into the next chain I'm gonna make a V treble cluster. Do exactly the same. We're gonna make 2 treble cluster first. So yarn over hook twice, skip 7 chain, and then into the next chain I insert my hook there and pull up a loop, 4 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. I'm gonna yarn over hook twice again and then insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Alright, and then now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So this is what I like to do. When I'm gonna pull 3 loops out of my hook, I like to hold here, my thumb and my middle finger, hold here, and then hold the last cluster too. That's what I like. That's my trick. Everyone like different. So, and then yeah, after I have 3 loops left, I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, that is the 2 treble cluster. And then next I'm gonna chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then slip stitch into the same chain right here. Insert the hook, pull up a loop, and pull through. Alright, now we're gonna chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're gonna make 2 treble cluster into the same stitch. So yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And then yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And now when I have 3 loops left, so I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So I hold it right here, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, like so. And now we have 2 V treble cluster, 1 and 2, and then we have 1 cluster at the end. And then we're gonna repeat that. I'll show you one more time. Repeat the same thing. So next I'm gonna chain 1. Don't forget to chain 1, okay, after you finish a V cluster. And then skip 7 chain, and then into the next chain we're gonna make a V treble cluster again. So skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then into the next chain make a V treble cluster again. So again we're gonna make 2 treble cluster first. So yarn over hook twice, insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And now when I have 3 loops left on my hook, I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Again, I like to hold here and hold here. And then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Okay, now we have 2 treble cluster here. And then next, we're gonna chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then slip stitch into the same chain. So right here, insert the hook, pull up a loop, and pull through. And then chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then make 2 treble cluster into the same chain. So again, yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And then yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And now when I have 3 loops left, I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. See, it's the same pattern. So now we have 3 V treble cluster stitches and then 1 cluster at the end. See, this is what we have so far. Okay, so next you're gonna repeat this. You're gonna chain 1, skip 7 chain, and then into the next chain you're gonna make a V treble cluster like this. Okay, and then chain 1, skip 7 chain, and then into the next chain you're gonna make a V treble cluster. Alright, and just keep repeating that until you have 8 chain left at the end, and then I will be back when you have 8 chain left. Okay, now I have 8 chain left at the end. Okay, and after I make the last V treble cluster, and I already chain 1 here. Alright, and next I'm gonna skip 7 chain, and then into the next chain, which is the last chain, I'm gonna make a last cluster. So for the last cluster, we're gonna make 2 treble cluster first. So I'm gonna yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the last stitch here. Okay, skip 7 chain, and then the last stitch, insert the hook there, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, and then yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And now when you have 3 loops left, you're gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops like so, and then I'm gonna chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then so this is 2 treble cluster, right? And after I have 2 treble cluster, I chain 4. Sorry. And then I'm gonna slip stitch into the same chain right here, which is the last chain. Insert the hook, pull up a loop, and pull through. And now we complete row 1. Alright, so the end of row 1, I have 6 V treble cluster stitches, okay, and then 2 cluster stitches, 1 on each end. Okay, so the cluster, when we start the row, is pointing this way. So you will have the chain first, chain 4 first, and then 2 treble cluster later after. It's called as 1 cluster. Alright, and then at the end, it's also called, I also call the cluster stitch. It also have 4 chain and 2 treble cluster, but for the last cluster, when you end the row, you're gonna make 2 treble cluster first, and then make 4 chain, and then slip stitch at the end. Okay, because you wanna pointing this way when you end the row, and then when you start the row, you want the cluster to point this way. That's why you have the chain 4 first before you have 2 treble cluster. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, anyway, so those stitches is called the same, called the cluster the same. Okay. And then yeah, so I show you how to count that. So we're gonna count the V treble cluster first. So I start count from this V first, okay? So not this one. This is the first V treble cluster. This is the second V treble cluster. This is the third V treble cluster. This is the fourth V treble cluster. This is the fifth V treble cluster. And then this is the sixth V treble cluster. So we have 6 V treble cluster stitches and then 2 cluster at the end, 1 on each end. Sorry. Yeah, I try so hard to explain. I hope you get it. Alright, anyway, so next we gonna start row 2. Okay, so for row 2, I gonna chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the 7 chains count as 1 triple treble crochet. Okay? And then I turn, or you can turn first and chain, doesn't matter. And then into the 1 chain stitch right here, we're gonna make a V treble cluster. Okay, so remember when we make a V cluster here, and then in between the stitches we make a 1 chain, right? And then we're gonna crochet into that chain. So this is gonna be the first chain that we're gonna make a V treble cluster in there. Okay, right into the chain stitch. Okay, not into the chain space. I show you. So again, we're gonna yarn overhook twice and make a 2 treble cluster first. Insert the hook into the chain stitch right here, right into the stitch. Okay, like that. And then pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then I have 3 loops on my hook. I gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops like so, and then I gonna chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then slip stitch into the same chain stitch right here, insert the hook, pull up a loop and pull through, and then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then make 2 treble cluster. So yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so this is the first V treble cluster stitch in row 2. See, we make the same when we make a V cluster in row 1. Row 2 we make the same, exactly the same. Okay, and after that I'm gonna chain 1. For the next chain stitch here, we're gonna make a V treble cluster again, exactly the same. Okay, start with a 2 treble cluster first. So yarn over twice, insert the hook into the chain stitch right here. Oops, right into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. That is the 2 treble cluster. Okay, and then we're gonna chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then slip stitch into the same chain stitch right here, insert the hook, pull up a loop and pull through, and then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then make 2 treble cluster into the same stitch. So yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops like that. It's the same pattern when you make a V cluster. Okay, so see now for row 2 I have 2 V cluster here. So this is the first V cluster, this is the second V cluster. Alright, you're gonna repeat that. So next you're gonna chain 1. Don't forget to chain 1. Okay, so chain 1 and make a V treble cluster into the next chain stitch, right into the stitch. Okay, and then you're gonna chain 1 and make a V treble cluster into the next chain stitch, chain 1, a V treble cluster into the next chain stitch. Repeat that until the end. So this is gonna be the last chain 1 stitch that you're gonna make a V treble cluster. Alright, and then I will meet you guys back in when you make the last V treble cluster. I'm at the end of row 2 here, and for the last V treble cluster I'm not gonna make chain 1 right there. Okay, and then I gonna make 1 triple treble crochet into the last stitch of the previous row, the last cluster from the previous row, right here, right at the end here. For the triple treble crochet you're gonna yarn over hook 4 times. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then I'm gonna insert the hook into the last stitch from the previous row, the last cluster here, right at the end here. Okay, so right here, so I insert the hook there, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, 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 and then yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops, like that. Okay, so it can be the same length of the 7 chain when we start here. Alright, so now we have 2 rows. So the end of row 2 I have 7 V treble cluster stitches. I show you how to count again. So this 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 V treble cluster stitches. And now for row 3 we're gonna chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and turn, or you can turn first and chain, doesn't matter. And then we're gonna make 2 treble cluster into the first stitch right here, okay. So yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the very first stitch here, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and now you have 3 loops on the hook. You're gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, like that. Alright, so the 2 treble cluster here and then the chain 4 here I count as 1 cluster stitch. Okay, I think I tell you that in the row 1, but just in case tell you again. Alright, and then I'm gonna chain 1. Okay, and then into the 1 chain stitch we're gonna make a V treble cluster. So after I chain 1 here I'm gonna make a V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch here. So make a 2 treble cluster first. So yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the chain 1 stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Now I have a 2 treble cluster here, and then I'm gonna chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and slip stitch into the same chain stitch right here. Insert the hook, pull up a loop and pull through, and then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then make 2 treble cluster into the same stitch. Yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, like so. So far, row 3, I have 1 V treble cluster stitch and then 1 treble cluster stitch. See? As you can see here, right here. We're right here right now, row 3. Alright, so next, it's gonna be the same pattern. You chain 1. Don't forget to chain 1, okay? So after you chain 1, you're gonna make a V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch, right into the chain stitch, okay? Like that, not in the hole here, not in the chain space. So I chain 1 here, gonna make a V treble cluster. So do the same. I make a 2 treble cluster first. Okay, and then I chain 4, slip stitch into the same chain stitch, and chain 4, and 2 treble cluster into the same stitch to create a V treble cluster. Oops, sorry. Like that. It's the same pattern, guys. Alright, so next, you're gonna chain 1 and make a V treble cluster into the next chain stitch. Chain 1 and make a V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch. Chain 1 and make a V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch. Just repeat that, okay? So this is gonna be the last V treble cluster that you're gonna make into. And I will meet you guys back in when you reach the last 1 chain stitch right here. Okay, after I make the last V treble cluster stitch into the chain 1 stitch here, and then I chain 1 right here. Okay, I already chain 1 here. And then next, we're gonna make a 1 cluster into the last stitch here, on top of the last cluster from the previous row right here. We're gonna make a 2 treble cluster first. So yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the last stitch, the stitch on top of the last cluster here of the previous row right here. Okay, insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, and then I chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then slip stitch into the same stitch. Right here, insert the hook, pull up a loop, and pull through. Like so. Alright. I'm at the end of row 3 and I have 6 V treble cluster stitches and then 2 cluster stitch. So 1 on each end of the cluster stitch. Okay, and then the V that in the middle. I'll show you how to count again. So we count the V treble cluster first. So this is the first V, second V, third V, fourth V, fifth V, and sixth V. Okay, so 6 V treble cluster stitches, and then here is the 1 cluster, and here is the other 1 cluster. Alright, so remember we talked about the cluster at the end of row 1. So when you start the row, the cluster, we have the chain 4 first and then 2 treble. That count as 1 cluster when you start the row, because you want to point that way for the cluster. And then at the end, you make a 2 treble cluster first and then make the 4 chain at the end and slip stitch. That is the cluster when you end the row. Alright, because you want to point that way. Yeah, it's the same when we talk about row 1, but I don't want to talk again. Yeah, anyway, So I gonna repeat row 2 and 3 16 more times, and I will have 35 rows in total. Okay, so now if you want longer, feel free to add more rows, but repeat row 2 and 3. Okay, that is the pattern repeat. All right, and if you want shorter, you make less row repeat. I gonna repeat row 2 and 3 16 more times, and I will have total of 35 rows. Okay, and then for row 36, I gonna repeat row 2 right here. Okay, so I show you why I do that. So now you see, here is my row 36. Okay, if I don't if the row 36 I don't repeat row 2, it'll end up like half flower like this, half of that, like that, and I don't like that. I want to end up with kind of like out like that. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so here is the pattern repeat, row 2 and 3, 2 and 3, 2 and 3, 2 and 3. Okay, so now for row 4, I repeat row 2, row 5, I repeat row 3. And I show you guys again one more time the pattern repeat, which is row 4 and 5. Okay, one more time just to make sure you get it. So for row 4, I gonna chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Count as 1 triple treble crochet. Okay, and then I turn and then make a V treble cluster into the 1 chain stitch here. Again, do the same. We start with 2 treble cluster first. Yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the 1 chain stitch right here. Oops, right here. Pull up a loop, yarn over, put through 2 loops, yarn over, put through 2 loops, and then yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, put through 2 loops, yarn over, put through 2 loops. Now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and put through all 3 loops, and then I chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oops, sorry. And then slip stitch into the same stitch. Insert the hook, pull up a loop, and pull through, and then chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and make 2 treble cluster into the same stitch. Yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, like so. See, we repeat row 2 now, and then I'm gonna chain 1, and then we're gonna make a V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch here. Do the same. Start with 2 treble cluster first, yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the next chain 1 stitch here, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, now I have 3 loops. I'm gonna yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. That is the 2 treble cluster, and then I'm gonna chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Slip stitch into the same stitch right here. Insert the hook, pull up a loop, and pull it through, and then chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 2 treble cluster into the same stitch. Yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I have 3 loops. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, like so. So far row 4 we have a 2 V treble cluster here. All right, so next I'm gonna chain 1 and make a V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch, chain 1 and make 1 V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch, chain 1, 1 V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch. Repeat that till the end, and here is gonna be the last chain 1 stitch that you're gonna make a V treble cluster in there. Okay, and I will meet you guys at the end here. Okay, I'm at the end of row 4 here, and here is my last V treble cluster. And after I make the last V treble cluster, I'm not gonna chain 1 at the end. Yeah, okay. And then next, we're gonna make 1 triple treble crochet into the last stitch of the previous row. The last stitch that we make a cluster, which is right here. Okay. See, we do everything the same when we make row 2. Right here, okay. So triple treble crochet is yarn over hook 4 times. So 1, 2, 3. Oops, sorry. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then insert the hook into the last stitch of the previous row that we make a cluster right here. Okay, right here. And then pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, 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 and yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops, like so. Alright, and then row 5, we repeat row 3, which is chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then turn, or you can turn first and chain, doesn't matter. And then we're gonna make 2 treble cluster into the very first stitch here. Yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the very first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, like so. And then I chain 1, and then into the chain 1 stitch here, we're gonna make a V treble cluster again. We're gonna do exactly the same when we make row 3. Okay, so we start with 2 treble cluster first. So yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the chain 1 stitch, right into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I have 3 loops. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, now we have 2 treble cluster here, and then we're gonna chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and slip stitch into the same chain stitch right here. Insert the hook, pull up a loop, and pull through, and now chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and make 2 treble cluster into the same stitch. Yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the same chain stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, like so. Oops, okay. All right, so far row 5 we have 1 V treble cluster stitch and 1 cluster stitch. All right, and next we're gonna chain 1, and then next we're gonna make a V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch here. Do exactly the same. So I'm just gonna make it real quick here. I'm pretty sure you guys know how to do that already. Oops. Okay. Okay. Chain 4, slip stitch. Chain 4. And 2 treble cluster. Same pattern, guys. Okay, you're just gonna repeating that. So next I'm gonna chain 1 and make a V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch. chain 1 and make a V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch. Repeat that till the end. So for the last stitch that you're gonna make a V treble cluster into, gonna be this chain 1 stitch here. Alright, and then I will meet you guys back in when you reach the last 1 chain stitch. Okay, now I made my last V treble cluster into the last 1 chain stitch here, and I already chain 1 after that. Okay, so I already chain 1 here, and then next we're gonna make a last cluster into the last stitch. Alright, so we're gonna crochet into this stitch, the last cluster on top of that stitch. Okay, do the same when we do row 3. So we're gonna start with 2 treble cluster first. Yarn over hook twice, insert the hook on top of the last cluster from the previous row right here. Right here. Insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and then I'm gonna chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and slip stitch into the same stitch. Right here, insert hook, pull up a loop and pull through. That's it. See, very easy. See now, next row 6, you repeat row 2. See, start with 7 chain. It's a very easy pattern, just 2 row repeat. So I gonna repeat row 2 and 3 15 more times. Okay, and I will have total of 35 rows. Like I said, if you want longer, feel free to add more row, but repeat row 2 and 3, 2 and 3, 2 and 3. Okay, if you want shorter, make less row repeat. Alright, and yeah, for me, I'm gonna repeat row 2 and 3 15 more times, and I will have 35 rows. Okay, and I will be back when I have 35 rows. Okay, now I have 35 rows. Okay, start count from row 1 here. Okay, I have 35 rows. Here is the end of row 35, like this. Okay, like I said, for row 36 we're gonna repeat row 2. So yeah, let's start with chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do exactly the same when you repeat row 2, and then turn, and then make a V treble cluster into the 1 chain stitch here. We're gonna do everything the same when we repeat row 2. Okay, I just want to show you a little bit. Okay, so I yarn over hook twice, start with the 2 treble cluster. Okay, insert the hook into the 1 chain stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I have 3 loops on my hook. I yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So now I have 2 treble cluster here, and then next chain 4, and then slip stitch into the same stitch. Right here, insert hook, pull up a loop and pull through. Okay, and chain 4, and make 2 treble cluster into the same chain stitch. Yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, hook twice, insert the hook into the same stitch. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. See, it's the same pattern. Alright, so next I chain 1 and make a V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch. So I'm just gonna go pretty quick here. It's the same pattern, that's why. Okay. And slip stitch, chain 4, 2 treble cluster, oops. Okay, now I have 3 loops on my hook. Yarn over and put through all 3 loops, like so. So far, row 36, I have 2 V treble cluster stitches. So you're just gonna repeat that. Chain 1, and make a V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch, chain 1 and make a V treble cluster into the next chain 1 stitch, and repeat that till the end. And then at the end here, this is gonna be the last stitch that you're gonna make a V treble cluster in there, and then I will meet you guys back in. Now I'm at the end of row 36 here, and after I make the last V treble cluster, I'm not gonna chain 1 at the end, okay? And then I'm gonna make 1 triple treble crochet into the last stitch that we make the last cluster from the previous row, right here. All right, so yarn over hook 4 times, insert the hook into the last stitch of the previous row right here, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 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 and then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops like that. And then for row 37 gonna be the final rows. We're gonna make a chain. We wanna make the last row and the first row is look the same, like have the chain here. I show you. Okay, so row 37 final row, I chain 1 and turn and make 1 single crochet into the very first stitch here, right here. Okay, insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through. All right, and then I'm gonna chain 7, 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7, and then make 1 single crochet into the 1 chain stitch right here. Okay, insert the hook right into the 1 chain stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through like that. See, we have 7 chain here, and remember when we make row 1 we skip 7 chain as well. Okay, so next I'm gonna chain 7, 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7, and make 1 single crochet into the next 1 chain stitch here, right here. Okay, oops, right into the stitch. Okay, pull up a loop, oops, pull up a loop and make a single crochet just like that. Okay, so we're just gonna repeat that, chain 7 and make 1 single crochet into the next 1 chain stitch right into the stitch. Okay, so you're just gonna repeat that. Make sure don't make your chain too tight. Okay, so next you're gonna chain 7 and then make 1 single crochet into the next 1 chain stitch, chain 7 and make 1 single crochet into the next 1 chain stitch, chain 7, 1 single crochet into the next 1 chain stitch, chain 7 and then make 1 single crochet into the last stitch. The last stitch gonna be on top of the cluster stitch. All right, I will show you, and yeah, I will meet you guys there. Okay, after I make the last 7 chain here, and then for the last single crochet, like I said, we're gonna make on into the on top of the last cluster stitch right here. Okay, so now I have 7 chain, and then I insert the hook to the last stitch, which is the stitch on top of the last cluster here. Insert the hook there, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through, and we done. That's what this look like. And then I gonna leave a long tail. I leave about 16 inches long, just enough to sew the front into the back panel. Okay, and feel free to have extra long, better than not enough. After I cut the yarn, I just gonna pull the yarn out here, and we done. Yay! And you need 2 of this. Okay, make exactly the same, leave a long tail exactly the same. Okay, everything the same. All right, so I already have 2 here, this one and this one. Yay, it's very cool. All right, and then next we gonna make the back panel, and it's the same pattern, but we're just gonna make more chain. That's it, because we want the whole width is the one panel, not separate that like the front, okay, like I explained earlier. And for the back panel and how to sew all the pieces together, I will show you in the part 2. And yeah, I will see you in the part 2.